This is the Mad Dragons Podcast.
Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. And tonight, you might want to talk some more about Ben Hunt, and I'm sure some panel members won't be able to help themselves, but we've said what we said about Ben Hunt on Sunday night show, and honestly, nothing has changed since. This game against the Warriors is a must-win to keep our season's flickering candle alight as we celebrate Jack De Belin's 200th game as a Dragon. Hasman, take us through the Dragon squad.
Alrighty, so here's how we line up against the Warriors this week. So Tyrell Sloan is the fullback. Matt Fine and Michaeli Ravalawa are on the wings as always. Moses Sterling and Zach Lomax likewise in the centres. Jaden Sullivan is the 5'8". Ben Hunt is the halfback and captain. And the forwards, we've got Francis Molo and Blake Laurie. Jacob Little is the hooker. In the second row, we've got Jack Bird making his return after having a bit of a rest with his, I think it was knee soreness issues. Jaden Sewer will partner him, and Jack De Belin will be the lock in his 200th game, as Donnie just mentioned. And on the interchange bench, we've got Junior Ramon, Michael Molo, Ben Murdoch-Masilla playing against his old club, and Zane Musgrove. And the referee is Adam by G, by Jingo, by Crikey. Back to you, Donnie.
Thanks, mate. We will get into the Dragons team a little bit later, but first of all, we've got a special guest to join us for our for this little segment here. So we'll get into this.
Come with me as we go behind enemy lines.
Well, good day, Dragons fans. I'm Big T, and this is Behind Enemy Lines, round 17. Before I bring in our guests, I'll run through the Warriors team. At the back, you've got Chance Nickel Klukstad. What a great name that is. Dallin with Tini Zalesniak, another one, and Marcelo Montoya on the wings. Rocco Berry and Adam Pompey in the sevens. Metcalf and Johnson, half and 5'8". Snow Blake, Wade Egan, and Big Bunty Afoa on the front row. Hasman's boy, Jackson Ford. We all know he loves Jackson Ford. And Niakora. Tohu Harris locks the scrum. On the bench, he's dangerous at times, this bloke. Dylan Walker, Josh Curran, Bailey Sirinen, and Tommy Ale. 80th man, Freddie Lussick, and Andrew Webster, the coach. All right, bring in our guest now, Christian. Christian, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing very good. And yourself?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. Tell us where you come from and what's the podcast you do?
So I'm from Auckland, New Zealand, born in Auckland, New Zealand, but I've been in Australia living on the Gold Coast for around about 10 years. So since 2010, I've been living in Australia. I'm a Warriors fan, massive Warriors fan, proud Kiwi, born and bred. I run a channel called Warriors NRL Fanatics on YouTube. So just go and search that up there, and I'm also on other platforms as well. So you can find me everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and I've also got a Facebook group as well, but that's run with myself and other few people.
Nice, cool. I'll start with the big news in the NRL. Maybe big news for you, maybe.
Yeah.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck talking about coming back. You'd like him in the Warriors side? Would you like him back?
Yeah, so Roger's coming back next year. He signed on I think he signed for a couple of seasons.
So he has signed?
Yeah, he's already signed through.
Okay.
Earlier this year, he signed from next year onwards. But there's obviously there's been some talks around rumours around whether he's going to get an early release because He hasn't
Yep.
been named in the All Blacks, New Zealand Rugby All Blacks side lately for the upcoming fixtures before the World Cup. But
Yeah.
look, yeah, at the moment, Andrew Webster's pretty much hosed that rumour down. He said in a press conference, little media thing today, chat interview, that there's been some rumours, but at the moment the club's not really talking to him. So basically, she squashed the rumours at the moment. So
Okay. Yep.
yeah.
Now, I was just talking, it might have come back this year, and I was talking about the Roosters, but the Roosters get everybody.
Yeah.
Have they got a salary cap? Who knows? The Warriors are a tough team to analyse. Like, they played the last 2 years in Australia, really.
Yes.
And they played half of last year back in New Zealand. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. We had some
Yeah,
games back into the season down there at Mount Smart in New Zealand. So
Yeah, so you can't really take their form from those couple of years. What do you think about their form this year? And will they play semi-finals?
yeah. So at the moment we're sitting in sixth spot on the NRL ladder currently. So it's been a tough couple of years. Obviously, with the COVID pandemic, this team has been based in Australia for quite some time. We've been based in Redcliffe. We've been based in Terrigal. We've been around the joint. We've been around the joint for some time. We've also had former Dragon himself, Nathan Brown, who was the coach at the Warriors for a couple of years. For me, that was, probably one of the darkest years in history of the Warriors, I think, personally. I think what Nathan Brown has really done at the club is nothing but great, nothing but terrible, actually. I think he's been terrible. And since he's gone to a lot of clubs, he's been at Newcastle, he's come to the Warriors, he hasn't really done a lot.
He had a tough time at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Tough time at Newcastle.
Yeah, he has.
But he went to the UK and he done fairly well. So
yeah.
So they've been a little bit patchy this year. The Warriors. They've won 3. I think it's 3 games at home and 3 games away. Maybe I think it is.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've lost more away. But yeah, I think they go pretty good. I don't mind the New Zealand side. They're a good side. But you got to thank New Zealand for doing what they did over the year. I mean the COVID years. Anyway, we'll carry on. I know you're going to say Sean Johnson. Where else are the Warriors strong in attack and defence?
So I think for me, it's obviously got to be Sean Johnson leads the way, but our 4-pack as well, Adam Tanua-Blake. I think he's probably been in his best form in his career for the Warriors in quite some time. I think this has been one of his better seasons to date, and I would say that he's probably up there as one of the best props with up there in the game at the moment. You can argue against it, but that's what I think personally. We've got a very good sort of solid 4-pack, a good bench as well with Walker coming back into the side. I think Dylan Walker adds plenty. He can play numbers of positions as well, play a bit of 5'8", hooker. He started as well this year quite in the 5'8" spot as well, so he's been in the team quite regularly. Curran's very good off the bench as well in the forwards. Montoya's been great on the wing. Watini Zelezniak's been an outstanding form for us throughout the past couple of weeks as well. And CNK at the fullback spot's been very good for us too. So I think overall, if you look at the Warriors team, it's, we've got some strengths everywhere across the field. And I think the team in general is, doing very well. And I think what Webby's bringing, Andrew Webster, for those of you who don't know, who was an assistant coach for us a couple of years ago when we had Andrew McFadden. So he knows a bit about the club already, even though the club's changed since then when he was last year. He went to Penrith, did some, he was assistant coach for Penrith, won the premierships as well. I think he was the attacking coach, I believe, or the attacking coach there, or defensive coach. But yeah, Webby's done a very good job. I think he's bringing this team really together each week, and we're showing a lot of consistency as well. And I think our effort areas have been great. So that's something you want to see as a Warriors fan. But going into this year, I didn't really have a lot of expectation. I thought this was going to take some time for this team to get going again. But we've exceeded expectations so far, sitting at sixth, and I think it's going to be. I think personally, I think if we don't make the finals from here, I think it's going to be a bit of a disappointment.
Yeah. Well, that was my next question about Webster, but you just answered that one. So I'll ask you about your team has got some hair on them.
Yeah.
Martinez has now got the best mullet I've ever seen. It could be a Mexican crooner, he could be. And Bunty Afoa, it should be Afroa. Look at the hair on that bloke.
Yeah,
well, anyways, anybody else got any questions for Christian?
I do, actually. Oh, Yasmin, you go first.
No, you go, mate.
Jackson Ford has, man.
What do you think's the key to Sean Johnson finding his vintage form? He's been probably the key to your success this year. And you've been the surprise packet so far in the comp. What do you think of the form of Sean Johnson so far this year?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of Warriors fans, including myself, had a lot of doubts around Sean Johnson because last year he did it really tough. Obviously, his family all of his family based in New Zealand, and his wife and as a young child, and he had to watch his young child get born as well. So that had been very difficult for him as well. When as well as the fact that the team weren't performing on the field and things weren't going great, and Nathan Brown and all that sort of stuff, and it's a bit of like. A bit of a reversal of form. He's shown like his best career form that he's shown in some time actually. So to see Sean Johnson back to his very best is very good because it really does help the club as well. And I felt that going into this year with some of the young players we got coming on board, we had Volkman, Metcalf, and the likes of Tamari Martin. I thought Sean Johnson's position, which is crazy to say, that may be under threat because his form wasn't great last year. So he's really turned around his performances. He's a lot more comfortable. He's a lot more confident. You can see how happy he is now these days. He's really showing, and his form's been showing it too. So, look, it's great. It's really good to see Sean Johnson in this bit of form, and it's really helping the side at the moment as well.
Thanks.
All good.
So,
Hasman.
Just want to talk to you about a guy that everyone's expecting me to talk about, Jackson Ford, who's come over to you guys from the Dragons this season, and from what I've seen, he's actually been doing pretty decent. In fact, I was just having a quick look at the stats, and he scored 2 tries in 33 games for the Dragons, and has done the same in 12 games for the Warriors. What do you think Jackson Ford brings to the Warriors forward pack?
Yeah, so it's an interesting one because going into the off season, I personally wasn't too sure about him. I haven't seen a lot of them up to that point, but what I thought was the signing at the start of the year, I thought he was going to be coming in for sort of a player that adds a bit of depth in the forwards. Personally, that's what I thought at the start, but I think generally as he started the season off, I think he's starting to prove me wrong, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. I've put my hand up and see it's great to see that he's been adding plenty to the side. But I think overall, Jackson Ford, there's still things in his game. I will say this, that he does probably need to sort out a bit. He does seem to give away a penalty or two in the game, or miss a tackle there and then. So I think there's some things that you need to think that he does need to sort out overall, but look, I think he's doing a solid job of what he's doing at the moment. So look, I'm pretty happy at the moment how he's going, but obviously I think he can improve as well.
Christian, I've got one for you too. Sorry, Hasman.
Yep.
Christian, I'm very impressed with the fullback that came from Canberra, Charles Nickel-Clockstead.
Yep.
I think he's absolutely brilliant, quite achiever, brilliant for you with the spine. I imagine he's up on the run meters. And, mate, what a bloody weapon to have at the back there in attack and in defence. He just seems like an inspired player at the Warriors.
Yeah, I think obviously that he came into the side and, we lost Reece Walsh. And a lot of people were saying that Reece Walsh was such a big loss for us. Now, I think, signing Charles Nickel-Clockstead, I thought was a very good signing. I was a massive fan of it. And seeing K back in a couple of years ago was at the Warriors. Didn't get a lot of first grade opportunities, and went over to the Canberra Raiders, and obviously got his chances there, and featured in a grand final as well. So I think he went up pretty well at the Canberra Raiders at the time, and last year obviously was tough. He didn't have his great. I think he didn't play a lot of first grade last year. That game against the New South Wales Cup game was his last game there, and he was in tears in that, and it's quite emotional for him. But I think coming back home, it was something that really motivated him to come back to the club, and I think that's been great for us actually. I think he's really doing some good stuff for us on the field, especially, and I think he's been working very hard as well. So I really am a big fan of him. Back when he was at the club, obviously didn't get his chances, but here he is now doing pretty well. So yeah.
I have one more. Sorry, guys.
Yep.
So actually, this one's more about your coach, Andrew Webster. His first time as an NRL coach. People forget he was the people talk about Cameron Sorella, the Penrith assistant previously. People don't know that just too much. Andrew Webster was the he's probably the forgotten man in the as the Penrith assistant as well, and he'd probably be contender for coach of the year the way he's going. Like, no, you wouldn't predict anyone that would say the Warriors would be pushing for semi-final football, but he's done a remarkable job with them this year. What are your thoughts on Andrew Webster?
Yeah, look, I think Andrew Webster's coming from the Penrith system. He also he was at the Warriors a couple of years ago. Now he was assistant coach under Andrew McFadden, and Andrew McFadden, who is a Canberra man. Look, he has been very good for us. He has been very good for us this year. I think what he brings is a different dilemma to the side. Obviously now, I think it's something similar to what Ivan Cleary brought for us many years ago when he was at the Warriors. I think he just brings that calm sort of demeanour, and I think what I like about Webster is, he speaks very well as a coach, and he can get that sort of confidence as players as well. So, yeah, I've been so impressed with what Andrew Webster's done so far this year, and I think what he's going to bring in the next 4 years for this club is, I think, will be moving in the right direction.
Christian, just a quick follow-up from my earlier question.
Yep.
And I think Donnie will be interested to hear your thoughts on this as well. Do you think Jackson Ford is a better player than Billy Burns?
Piss off, you freaking shit stirrer.
It's just a running joke on this program, Christian.
Yeah, all good.
Donnie once said...
Do you even know who Billy Burns is?
No, be honest about it. Donnie has a romance with Billy Burns. Has a romance with Jackson Ford. That's the answer for you.
That's right. Yes.
That's the truth.
Well, anyway, we'll continue on. We played 34 times. Dragons have won 24 and lost 10. So we're sort of your bogey team. So this is where I like to take a walk down memory lane. I'm going to go back to 2015, round 22, on a wet and cold New Zealand night. After winning last week against the Knights, the Dragons had endured a 7-game losing streak. The Warriors, after 3 straight losses, tumbled out of the top 8, and their misery didn't stop there, mate. The Warriors were caught napping by Benji Marshall with just a long ball out to Justin Hunt. I couldn't even remember Justin Hunt played for the Dragons. Long ball out to him on the wing, and he scored the try. 4-0 the Dragons. Kick missed from the sideline. We won't talk about that. And then Nathan Friend barged over from dummy half, only to be held up. Sorry, mate, no try. And then 20 minutes later, Mitch Rain does the same thing, barges over, but he scores this time under the post. Dragons 10-0. Sorry, man. Warriors tried hard all first half to no avail. Dragons led 10-0 at half time. 5 minutes into the second half, Mitch Rain chips the ball into the in goal. And you want to know who caught it? Donnie, do you know who caught it?
No idea, mate.
Jake Marquito.
Oh, the great one.
Yeah, he flew through the air like a ballerina and then crashed to the ground like a rock. Scored the drive. Dragons 16-0. Okay, here we go. Then from 30 metres out on their own line, Dragons move to the left. Mitch Rain again scoots from dummy half. Passes to Ewan Aiken. And guess what Ewan Aiken did? He passed the ball. Out to Peter Matadia. Dragons over 22-0. Still half an hour to go. Widdop and in and away from about 15 out. Dragons 26-0. Sorry, man. It's even getting worse. It's getting embarrassing for the Warriors. When Tyson Frizzell sliced through paper-thin defence to score out their right-hand side. Dragons 34-0. Penalty goal to Gareth Widdop. Dragons 36-0, mate. And as they say, the rest is history. That's a walk down memory lane. Thanks for being with us, Christian. You've been absolutely fantastic. Loved having you on. Yeah, but 36-0. Sorry, man. Had to go back to that one.
Yeah, all good now. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it. You know, it's great to be on.
We all like to have fun. So I'm glad you joined in. All right, back to you, Donnie. Thanks for that, Christian.
Yeah, just before I let you go, mate, give one more plug to your page, because I understand you had a pretty good guest on tonight.
Yeah, I did actually. Yourself, Donnie. So it's great to have you on. It was great chat and great preview. And yeah, thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it. But you can find me on YouTube, Warriors NRL Fanatics. Just search me up there. I'm also on Instagram as well, Twitter, TikTok, all those platforms. So you can find me there. So yeah, just search me up there.
Fantastic, mate. Thanks very much for joining us, and yeah, thanks very much for having me earlier tonight on your show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on also.
Beautiful. All right. Always good to get a bit of insight into the opposition team. Yeah, whenever we do Behind Enemy Lines, I think it's a wonderful little addition to the show, Big T. And all right, we might go into another segment. Get the fans involved. Let's go into Jags Dragons trivia.
Okay, good evening, guys. Welcome to Jags Dragons trivia for this week. So I've got a special treat tonight. I've got two questions. The first one is concerning a big milestone man, my screensaver tonight. So it's Jack De Belin. So this week he'll play his 200th game at Wynn Stadium on Friday night against the Warriors. So the first question tonight is, when did Jack De Belin make his NRL debut? What year did he make it? Who was it against, and what was the venue? So yeah, who can you name when he made his NRL debut, and what team did he play against? And fire away in the comments, and the next question will be up very shortly after that.
And we go straight away. Marcus Stulberg says 2014.
No, that is incorrect.
Well, we'll keep the guesses coming. So that's the first stab in the dark. Peter Placidio Veneziano, one of our favourites, says the Knights at Newcastle in 2012.
No, that is incorrect. No, that is
Add a couple of guesses. And we'll see if a few more come through, but hopefully somebody else can watch the comments. But while we get into having a bit of a chat about our team, so while we wait for a few answers to Jesse's question, I'll go to you, Rob. I know I said we weren't going to talk about this, but we can't really go through the show without discussing the Ben Hunt has been selected in the team 2 days after Origin 2 in Queensland. Given the week that has been, do you really think Ben Hunt will take his place on Friday night?
Well, Donny, after everything's happened, I'll be skeptical, to be honest with you. I'll be thinking the man would probably, with all the press, to be fair to him, it's been pretty hard, pretty shocking. He did ask for release, there's no doubt it's true. With the Dragons, Ryan Webb confirmed it. I'll be thinking, if he could think he could get out of the game and not play, I'd be doing the same thing. But look, my information is tonight from Shane Flanagan via Ryan Carr that Hunt's going to play on Friday. He'll back up unless he's injured. He will be playing on Friday night. And I got to say, I've been a bit of a hater of him for wanting to leave the Dragons as a captain and etc. But without getting all that, as you said, we've been into it. But I've got to give it to him. If he's going to show up on Friday and he's going to run out, well, good luck to him, mate. That's all I can say. But my information is, I've heard Shane Flanagan say it, that he's going to be playing on Friday night, unless he's injured. So, yep, there you go, Donny, in a nutshell.
There you go. You reckon your mail is that Ben Hunt's going to play? That'd surprise me a little bit, but we have another couple of stabs at the answer, Jesse, to Jags Dragons trivia question. Chris Holmes says 2011 against Manly.
That is correct. I just need to know the venue. Where did he make his debut? Which ground was it at?
Well, Con Flamengos was about 3 milliseconds behind. He said the same right answer. So now we just need the venue. Can't be too many possibilities. Dragons against Manly. You wouldn't think there'd be too many options to choose from. So you chuck the guesses in. I'm guessing that because it's in your quiz that it's a venue that maybe you wouldn't think of. Maybe, I don't know. But there's only a few different home grounds to choose from, so I don't know. Have a guess. Who have you got?
Yeah, Hasman's onto the money, but we won't reveal that. Yes.
Rory McDonald says Suncorp.
Suncorp.
Well, Manly do take a home game to Suncorp. Maybe it was Magic Round back in 2011.
There was no Magic Round didn't exist.
Oh, really? No, thanks for filling me in.
Come on, Chris, you got it. Come on, have a stab. Chris Holmes, have a stab.
Well, Chris is it's actually Con says the Gong.
Yes. It was a Monday night game, 2011. Wynn Stadium in Wollongong. It was on the 27th of June, 2011. And his first game, and it was Wayne Bennett handed him his NRL debut. I think it was a game after State of Origin. They were backing up after State of Origin. We had a few play in Origin 2 that night. Well, the Wednesday night before that, yeah.
Well, how about this battle between Con and Chris? Chris got the first answer by about 3 milliseconds, and Con's beat him by about the same time with the Wynn Stadium part of the question.
What does Con Flamengos win?
Yeah, he's got some bragging rights there, mate.
He's got the satisfaction of getting the question right.
That's it. Anyone out there wants to sponsor Jags Dragons trivia so we can have a prize to give to the winner of the quiz each week, then definitely get in touch.
Chris Holmes has gone further in depth. We won 24-6.
Hey.
He wants that prize. He wants to be known as the the winner.
Chris Holmes, I got to give him the winner. He's the winner.
Good on him. It's a name I don't think I've seen too often in the comments before. So maybe a new commenter. So lovely to have you on board, mate.
Lockie Dixon says bonus points.
Fastest finger first. All right.
And I've got a follow-up question.
Oh, you've got a follow-up question. Okay. Well, here we go.
So the corresponding
yourself
game
in.
last year, we played the Warriors at Cogra. Can anyone remember what Zach Lomax did in that game that was so memorable? I think it was on
Gonna
highlights
say
reels.
flick pass.
Yeah, I was going to say flick pass.
200 flick passes.
Yeah. See if you can remember back to this time last year. I think it
Oh,
was
actually,
midway
yeah.
through last year. We played at Cogra.
There we go. All right. Stephen Bates is after the bonus points. He says the crowd was 18,946. I'm going to assume he looked that up. Unless he's incredibly autistic and remembers those kinds of figures. It's
We're going to call him the stat man.
Chris Holmes says push Tyson Frizzell. No. So the game against the Warriors. He was at Newcastle, so not that one.
Johnny Farr's on the money. Yes.
Oh, the rugby maul to get out of the in goal.
Yeah, he beat 9 defenders to get out of the in goal.
Well, he had 8 attackers pushing him too. So
yeah, that was what he did right. 9 defenders. I was at that game. That was remarkable. Never seen anything like it.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Jags Dragons trivia for another week, and always nice to sort of remember some of those moments. And Jack De Belin celebrating his 200th. We will talk about that in a little bit later on, because I know you're quite excited about it, Jess. So we'll come back to that, but temporarily we'll stay with Ben Hunt. Muzzer, I hope this works, because I know you have had some trouble with your internet today. But if Ben Hunt doesn't back up, if he does not play on Friday night, what changes do you think that will see to the 17?
Hey guys, how are you? Hope that's coming through okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. If Ben Hunt doesn't play, look, I think it probably will give Junior Amone probably another shot at that, and we'll see those Amone and Buddy combination in the halves again, which will probably bring Moses Mbai back onto the bench, much as a lot of people probably discussed, but he's probably the next best to go on there to cover all those positions. I think we've already spoken about. We've ribbed him enough, but I think we'll go with Amone, Buddy, and Mbai to fill in those halves. And look, either way, I'm pretty happy with the way they've all been going. So, the halves anyway. Amone certainly has to step up, and if he does get his chance this week, if Hunt is injured after Origin, well, it's now or never.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's probably the positive to all of this is that we do have a young halfback that needs time in the 7 jersey. So we're getting to the point where there's going to be no excuse other than to give him that time and see how he goes. So that's an exciting prospect, I think, for Dragons fans, albeit a little bit terrifying. I think sometimes it's better the devil you know. Like, we know what we're going to get out of Ben Hunt. I think there's a lot of uncertainty about what we're going to get if Jaden Sullivan becomes our full-time halfback. I'm pretty confident, but not everyone is. All right, Hazman. Last question that we'll have on Hunt is Muzzer got the question: what happens if he doesn't play? But if he does play, what sort of reception do you expect Dragons fans to give him?
Look, I've been keeping a bit of an eye on all the socials since this whole thing started, and the observation that I've made is that the fans are pretty much split down the middle, as to their feelings about what he's done and how he's gone about it. So from that standpoint, I expect half the fans to be behind him and support him, as a Dragons player, and I expect the other half to completely ignore the board's pleas to not boo him, on the basis that the board don't listen to the fans. Why should we listen to the stupid board? So I reckon he's going to cop a lot of shit from half the supporters and a lot of support from the other half. So I reckon I don't think it's going to be sort of too outrageous. He's going to have a lot of fans at him and a lot of fans behind him. So I think it'll be sort of pretty much even Stevens.
Yeah, I think that's pretty similar to the answer that I gave on Christian's show a bit earlier on. I think that some people will boo, and the booing is what you'll hear. Like I think there will be some people that will be absolutely vitriolic. We've seen some of the Dragons fans in other podcasts and vodcasts and whatnot that have been absolutely ferocious in their attacks on Ben Hunt. But there was an interesting point. I'll I might go to you, Mothers, just because you've chucked your hand up. I'll let you go with your point first, and then I'll ask you this question. No, you put your hand up and then left yourself on mute.
I'm here. Just going back on what Hasman just said, I don't think they'll be divided 50-50 on how they thought he went about it and whether it was right or wrong. I think everybody's in the same thinking there. I think the where they will be divided is whether they're going to boo him or whether they're just going to cheer him on because he's got our jersey on. So I really think that the majority of people do think he's done the wrong thing by means of what we're hearing and reading, not by means of what Ben Hunt has or has not actually said. So until we hear it from him, we're not going to really know. But I think if he's done it the wrong way, everybody's in agreement. It's just how everybody deals with it, I think, will be different.
Yeah, mate. I'll give you the question that Con sort of put in the comments. It's sort of a state of origin based question, and if Ben Hunt doesn't play for the Dragons, doesn't play again between now and State of Origin 3, does he get picked for Origin 3?
Is that to me?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? Well, that's a Queensland thing. That's completely different club footy. So whether Billy's going to play him without any club time, well, who knows? But realistically, you'd have to say no.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll do that.
Yeah, I think Queensland would still pick him, quite frankly. But Big T?
Yeah, what happens if he plays and he has an absolute Barry Crocker? Like, he can't handle the ball and he doesn't kicks out in the full, whatever, he has an absolute shocker. What happens then? What are the crowd going to do to him?
Oh, they're going to crucify him. There'll be someone that'll jump the fence. Like there'll be some moron that'll jump the fence to try and get to him. Like,
sure. And if he doesn't play and he ends up at somewhere else, I don't know how he could do that. He's not supposed to talk to any other clubs because he's under contract. But if he doesn't play and doesn't come back to the Dragons and ends up at, say, the Titans, well, he'd be the first ever player to play State of Origin in the same year for two different clubs.
I don't know. I think there's been a lot of mid-season swaps that have happened over the course of time.
Well, I understand that, but
I think it'll
be the first. I think it'll be the first.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought that it would have happened at some point over the course of time. There's been a lot of big mid-season signings. I would have thought at some point it's happened, but maybe we'll get David Middleton onto that one.
Hey, Donnie, I've got a question for you. Not on, what do you call it? Not on the agenda. Is Hunt the first captain ever in the NRL to want a release from a team? I heard that today. I don't know if that's true or not. Irrespective of what everybody thinks or whatever.
Cameron McInnes was the club captain, our last club captain, and he requested a release too. So
yeah.
So he's not the first. He's the second Dragons captain. He's the second Dragons captain in a row to do it.
Oh wow! Well, there you go.
So I don't know about anybody else. I don't follow too many other teams as closely as I follow the Dragons. But it's been very disappointing. Our last two captains have decided they wanted to leave as soon as the coach got sacked. So
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. All right. Where are we on the agenda? Speaking of the agenda. I'm just trying to find my place now. Okay, Big T. Big T, your boy. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you blow my mind. He's been relegated to the bench after being close to our best in his last outing. Do you think he's a little hard done by?
No, I don't think he's a little hard done by. Blake Laurie's back. Blake Laurie does a lot of work. He'll probably play about the same amount of minutes as he played anyway. I think he played 51 against Souths. So they'll both play around about the same amount of minutes, I'd say. Yeah. No, I don't think he's hard done by. Blake Laurie's our number one prop. Arguably, Jack De Belin is number one prop as well, but Jack De Belin's back to his number 13 now, so I think he's a better lock. He's our better lock anyway. Yeah, no, Mikey Marlowe, he's still in the side. He'll stay in the side. And yeah, he'll play the same amount of minutes anyway.
Yeah, I hope you're right, because my big concern with Marlowe is with Michael Marlowe is that he's not an impact player. I would have thought Frankie's a better impact player coming off the bench, whereas Michael's more of a sort of work rate kind of player, as we saw the other week. He gets through a mountain of work if you give him the minutes. But you would have.
But
I guess
who knows with the NRL these days?
Yeah, I guess the question there would be, if you've got Michael Marlowe and Blake Laurie, you've got two relatively undersized front rowers, don't you? So
yeah,
Frankie's
but he's probably our third or fourth best, mate. Well, yeah, now Kerr's gone. He's up in probably our third best front rower in the side.
Jesse, you had your hand up there, mate?
Actually, I was just going on what Rob said before. So the last captain to ask for a release from his club was Adam Reynolds at Souths. So Souths a couple of years ago, as you know, they were only offering him a 1-year extension, and the Brisbane Broncos offered him a 3 or 4 year contract, I think it was. So he asked Souths for a release, and then he joined the Broncos. He wanted more security. Souths wouldn't give him more than a 1-year contract, so he wanted out.
Well, there you go. All right, Jesse, I've kept this question back specifically for you because I know you're more excited than anyone for Jack De Belin's 200th game. 200 games, it's okay, but it's not that big of an achievement, I think, in the modern game. Tell us why you think it is for Jack.
Well, it's probably because he's had 3 years out of the game. He's had he probably had sports whether he'd reach 200 games, like whether he'd get there, but he's done well. I think he's found his form again that we know and love him for. His defense has been outstanding this year. I think he's been one of our better players this year. Missed the first month of the comp, but he's really made his mark ever since, and was rewarded with the captaincy against the Dolphins a few weeks ago. He's had a great career. He recently just said his passion for the club, and he wants to play on again next year and potentially the year after. He wants to be a one-club player. He debuted, as I said, back in 2011, been through our pathways, was the Holden Cup Player of the Year back then. He's always been known for his rock-solid defence. And, 3 years out of the game, it might have been a question of whether he would make it, whether he'd be back at all playing in the NRL. But, back in 2021 when he was first allowed to come back, he was a bit rusty, but now he's found his full fitness, and he's really starting to play the football we know he can, and that's what we love him for. And it's going to be a great achievement, and what better way to celebrate his 200th game in front of his home fans at Wynn Stadium on Friday.
As the captain, mate?
Well, I think he should be. At least he should. If he's not, he should at least lead the team out for this milestone achievement in his career. And the club has something big planned for it too. I'll touch on that a little bit later. But no, it should be a good occasion. Someone actually said listening to the radio this morning, someone actually suggested that with the saga with Ben Hunt, someone should push the celebrations back to next week's game at Shark Park. But I don't think you'll get any Dragons. You won't get many Dragon supporters at Shark Park. He deserves to celebrate this big achievement in front of the home fans at Wynn Stadium.
No Animal Park, please.
It should be more Dragons fans at Shark Park than Sharks. Kick them out of there like they bloody kicked us out of our home ground for a couple of years. But look at them. I'm looking forward to that one. Always love a local derby. But Rob, moving on now. Jack Bird returns talking about the other Jack. Looking for a pure opinion here. Obviously, we don't have any inside scoop on this, but do you buy the club's official word that he was injured and missed 2 weeks with knee soreness, or do you think there's some other reason why he hasn't been playing?
I do and I don't. So that's Arthur and Martha, Donny. The reason why I say that is I've seen Jack in Cronulla over the time when he's been injured, and he's bloody at the ice cream place at Cronulla, getting an ice cream and moving freely. So he didn't look too injured for me in the past.
He
But in
looks like he's
saying
had a
that-
few ice creams too, but
Yeah.
maybe needs to ease up on that.
In saying that, mate, yeah, I don't know. Look, there's been a few penalties, obviously, on the field, given away, indiscretions, etc. So I don't know whether that's the club in a way, sort of saying to Jack, listen, you know, you're out for a couple of weeks. We're not going to put you in New South Wales Cup, but you know, we're going to say you're injured, just to get your head around it, come back. We don't want all these bloody penalties, all this going on with the referee and all that. But I can't be sure, Donny, at the end of the day. So what do you believe? And you know, who do you believe? But look, he's in the team this weekend for Jack's 200th. So bloody run straight, Jack Bird. Don't run sideways.
Yeah, the crab.
Yeah. Otherwise, we've got to tie him on a treadmill and keep him on there, and so he can run straight. But look, yeah, Donny, I don't know, mate. That's a hard one, mate. You could be either way, right? At the end of the day,
As I say, it's a pure opinion. What is it that you think? And I think, you know, it comes down to, you know, who you are more than who Jack Bird is. I think the conspiracy theorists, they always think there's a conspiracy. They always think that there's something more going on that the club aren't telling. I think he, you know, I'm intentionally naive. I don't mind being naive. It's a good way to live. You sort of believe the things that are told you, and you're happy about it. So, you know, I think Jack De Belin had knee soreness. I think he's had knee issues a lot in the past, and he missed a couple of weeks to make sure that it was 100% right. So
Bird, you mean?
Yeah, Bird. That's what I mean.
Yeah, well, yeah,
You know what I mean?
you'd hope the club's on the straight and narrow, right, Donny?
Yeah. No, well, again, I think the language that Carr used when it first happened was a little strange. And I think that gave people the idea that there was something more going on. But yeah, I think as I say, Bird's had a lot of knee injuries and stuff in the past, and they're just being rather conservative with it. So I don't think there's anything untoward going on, and it's good to see him back in the team. I personally don't like him as a second rower because I think he plays a lot straighter, a lot more direct when he plays in the middle. But you know, we don't have a lot of options or depth in the second row. So, all right, Muzza, Ben Murdoch-Masila has probably been a little disappointing. To be honest, over the last little while. I thought he started the season okay, but I think the last sort of 2 months has been pretty poor. But he's kept his spot on the bench. Do you think he's lucky to still have his spot in this 17?
Yeah, I think he's very lucky, actually. Like you stated, I think he did start off the season quite well, and he was great as a little bit of impact off the bench when he first came in. But you're looking at a bloke, excuse me, you're looking at a bloke playing 80 minutes, having 7 runs for 60 odd metres or something in 80 minutes of footy. That's just for a front rower or a second rower or like any forward. That's just unacceptable. And he's done that the last couple of weeks. I think he ran, like I said, 7 times in 80 minutes, and I think the week before maybe 5 runs in 40 minutes in half a game. So, and I mean those runs that he's making, like he's making 60 metres, 50 of those are post contact. So he can do a job. But yeah, it's certainly been very, very quiet. And I think Jaden Hunt probably another one who was lucky to be in the side. He's still in the 18 or the extended bench, but I certainly would have young Couchman in there, giving him a go and just letting him bloody rip and tear.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that, again, there's there's a few other options that have gone all right in the lower grades that might be worth giving them a bit of a look, given how Ben Murdoch-Masilla's been playing. I don't know that he's, even when he's been dropped back to reserve grade, I don't know that he's really stood up to demand that spot in the starting side. I don't think he's been a standout when he has gone back to reserve grade even. So I think he's very lucky to be in the 17, very lucky to be getting picked every week. But Hasman, I've noticed a bit of a pattern. Toby Couchman scores his first NRL try and he's dropped the following week. Toby Couchman scores his second NRL try and he's dropped the following week. Jaden Hunt scores his first NRL try and he's dropped the following game. Do you think that the Dragons' young forwards need to learn their lesson and stop scoring bloody tries? The coaches clearly don't like it.
Well, I mean, how young's young? I mean, I don't recall Black Laurie, who admittedly is 26, so not exactly young. I don't remember him getting dropped after scoring his first trial, probably because it took him 91 games to do it. But look, I wouldn't be surprised I'd be surprised if Billy Burns ever scores a try, to be honest. But if he were to get a try in NRL, I guarantee you he gets dropped the following week, but it'll have nothing to do with scoring a try.
Yeah, well, I guess is that kind of similar with Jaden Hunt? I mean, I think Muzzer sort of brought it up there that he's lucky to even be in the 22, let alone the 17, despite the fact he scored a try and probably played his best game for the club in that game against South.
Yeah, we can't have these young blokes showing the old blokes up. It's not good.
A Big T looking at that extended bench: Jaden Hunt, Moses Mbai, Max Feeney, Toby Couchman, and the great Billy Burns. Do you see any late changes from Carr and now before kickoff?
No, I don't think so. Maybe you could do a Maxi for a Matty. I don't know. I've got it written down here. Mbai may be coming if Hunt don't play. Amone will come in into the 6 and Sullivan will play 7. Mbai to 14. Who knows? Jaden Hunt, like you were saying, he scored his first try. He's gone. I don't think they like the forward scoring, like you were saying, and they would rather the back score tries. So, yeah, I don't think there'll be any change. In the magnificent Billy Burns had another great reserve grade game when he scored another couple of tries and ran for 1,000,000 metres. But it doesn't transfer into first grade. He's there. I don't think he'll be used. I don't think there'll be any changes except for Hunt maybe not playing. I don't think Hunt will play. That's my opinion. I don't think Hunt will play another game for the Dragons. I missed out on Sunday having my say, but no. I'm just going to say he won't play on Friday. He won't play.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of people saying the same things. They just can't see how can he possibly run out as the captain? How can you possibly lead the team that you said you don't want to be a part of?
Yeah, look, if he comes out as a shocker, he'll be bashed. I don't think he'll play. Sorry, people.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything except I think if Billy Burns was given 3 or 4 games in a row in the top grade in the second row, I think he'd prove a few people wrong. Apart from the fact he drops a few balls. Even his last game, he dropped the ball 4 times, but still ran for the most metres. If he caught those 4 balls, he probably runs for about 200 metres in that game, and gets the award as the best player in the entire NRL for that weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
But he did drop him, so he was shit. So I don't know. How hard is it to hold onto a ball? Surely you can teach a guy how to hold onto the football and not drop it. That's about the only thing he needs to learn.
They're getting paid thousands of dollars to do it. So
yeah. Anyway, let's have a look at reserve grades because they went pretty well on the weekend. So let's have a bit of a look at their highlights. Yeah, so a resounding win for the New South Wales Cup team there. Sione Finau on the wing was outstanding. Ran for about 270 odd meters. Scored a couple of tries and set up another one for Trey Stewart. Zach Herring was outstanding as well. Scored a try and had 4 try assists. So he's going really well and showed some fantastic footwork after a late offload there from Alec Tuatavake. Trey Stewart heavily involved as well, over 200 running meters and set up a couple of tries, a couple of line breaks. The last try that he did set up for Zach Herring, I think he definitely could have scored himself. I don't know why he passed it to Herring there, but it was a really good win, 46-4 over the Magpies. And yeah, they haven't had a lot of success in New South Wales Cup, so good to see them going well. And the Couchman boys were the standouts in the forwards. I know Billy Burns scored 2 tries in 4 minutes, but I still think that the Couchman brothers, Toby probably getting the better of Ryan this time around, ran for over 150 metres starting in the front row, which I think he'll be doing in the NRL side before too long. I'd be working towards Toby Couchman being our starting front rower from next year, the way that he's going, the way that he's progressing. All right, Jesse. Another player that not too many people will know too much about heading into the NRLW season. Now, I don't know how to exactly pronounce the name, but Alexis Tournier? Is that
close enough.
Close enough. So she's obviously won a couple of awards over the last little while that you'll tell us about, but picked in the New South Wales Women's Under-19s side to be played the Thursday after Origin 3 in Redcliffe.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, she was awarded Tarsfield Cup Player of the Year. She's been playing with the Bulldogs. She because of her impressive form in that, she was graduated to the Harvey Norman Premiership side, which is the same competition that the Illawarra Steelers played in earlier this year. The Bulldogs made it all the way to their grand final, and she recently got Player of the Carnival at the National Championships up there on the Gold Coast. In my chat to her manager last week, John Fidel, she's predicting a bright future for her. He's got high hopes for her. I think she will be the player to watch for our NRLW side this year. He actually thinks that by the end of next year, she'll be playing for her country, in open side. That's how high the expectation is on her. She's actually got young sisters as well back over there in New Zealand. So, and there's a big future on them as well. But now Alexis Tournier, yeah, she's going to be a bright future. And yeah, she'll be she's only 18 too, so she's gonna take the world by storm. She's only been playing league for a couple of years. She only moved from New Zealand in 2021, I think it was, or 22. She's been playing in Queensland, and was picked up by the Bulldogs at the start of this year. And yeah, already making this New South Wales Under-19 side. There's big expectations on her. I think, yeah, hopefully she does get a crack in this NRLW side, because it's a very young side. But if we've picked up a very handy acquisition there, and I'm looking forward to seeing how she pulls up. Actually, I will go through a little bit of a I've got a little bit of a caption of it, Alexis, and there's more. If you check my John Fidel chat as well, you'll hear John go into depth about her, what to expect of Alexis. Yeah, as I said, she's got high hopes of that. So she's been signed as a front row. She's a front rower. In 2021, she was awarded the Wellington Sport College Rugby League Player of the Year, and gaining selection she won Most Valuable Player in the tournament in Wellington as well. She was made the Upper Central Stallions Rugby League Under-18s team and Under-18 Samoan team, which competed in the Pacific Youth Cup in 2021. She was named Most Valuable Player in New Zealand Under-18 Rugby League's club team, which defeated New Zealand secondary schools 50-0 October last year. And she also has a rugby background as well. She represented Samoan Barbarians at the World School Sevens a couple of years ago as well. Under 18 Girl Rugby Player of the Year. Captain of the Wainuiomata High School Women's Rugby Team. And won Most Valuable Player of the Year there as well. But yeah, she hasn't been league a long time, but she's won with these awards. She's won. She's got a big future in the game, and I'm looking forward to seeing her pull on the red V.
Yeah, I think for people that don't follow the lower grades, that Tasha Gale under 19s women's comp is a really good, strong comp. It's the best women's under 19s competition in the world, and she won the best player in that entire tournament. So she's got a huge future ahead of her, and looking forward to seeing her in red and white a bit later, and obviously playing in the New South Wales side as well for the under 19s before Origin 3. So definitely something for Dragons fans to be looking forward to.
And definitely, I do want to add on to that too. Alexis actually had a number of clubs chasing her signature, but with the connection, obviously, that John has to Jamie Soward, yeah, John told her how good John told Soward how good he is, and she's going to be a special player, and yeah, John ended up landing her a contract at the Dragons.
I think that's the exciting thing for Dragons fans heading into this NRLW season, is that there's so many really talented players that we don't know too much about, that haven't been seen in the NRLW before, and that's the beauty of the expansion, is that we get to see this talent get showcased on a big stage. So looking forward to that starting. It's just over a month away from round one in the NRLW, and I'm sure over the next 4 weeks or so we'll start to talk a bit more about the women's game. But staying with the lower grades this week, split all over the place this weekend. Now, obviously, the Dragons play in Wollongong, and the New South Wales Cup side, strangely, heading over the ditch to New Zealand to take on the Warriors. So you would have thought that they would have, given we play New Zealand in New Zealand later on in the year, that maybe we would have played over in New Zealand then for New South Wales Cup and played at home this time around. But they haven't lined it up that way. So the New South Wales Cup side will be over in New Zealand, which does mean that there will be a couple of players who will probably miss out on playing altogether. The Jersey Fleet side, they head down Mexico way to take on the Storm as well. So they're all over the place this weekend for the lower grades, or for all the grades of the Dragons. But in the extended NRL side, not named for the trip to New Zealand, is Billy Burns, Moses Mbai, and Jaden Hunt. So you'd expect that they will either not play at all this weekend, or they'll be the only players that could be late inclusions, which I think is a little disappointing that Toby Couchman isn't one of those players being considered to be a late inclusion, because I don't know what the kid's done wrong. I think he's earned another crack at the top grade, and with Josh Kerr going, I would have thought he would have been the perfect man to bring back into this side, but alas, it's not to be. But Jesse, you sort of brought up Alec Tuatavake, who's come over from Manly, a 22-year-old with a big future, just coming back from a knee injury, a knee reconstruction, so not just any old knee injury. He's got his first start this weekend in the New South Wales Cup, so an opportunity maybe for him to play bigger minutes and really put up some big numbers and show what he can do as a starter.
Yeah, definitely. Like as you said in the chat, probably Flanagan wants to see him get a chance in the starting side, get some big minutes into his legs, obviously he deserves an opportunity in that side as well with his performances of late, and could be good to see getting him an opportunity, and hopefully if he can impress us, he can be knocking on the door for a spot in first grade. We may see him get an NRL debut before the end of the year. And I did notice too, no Viliami Fafita. Has he got an injury or something?
Yeah, no Tautau Moga either. So there's a couple of players that I obviously didn't get to see the game last week. I've only seen the highlights. I'm not sure. I'm guessing you can only assume there has been some sort of injury or some other reason why they couldn't go to New Zealand for for whatever reason this weekend. But yeah, neither of those two named in that squad. Maybe they'll be late inclusions, but we'll see how that plays out. All right. I want to move into a segment that's been sort of semi-regular on the show. Coco's clashes. Now, I know Coco isn't on tonight, and I've been a bit slack in making this a more regular segment, but I want to structure it a bit different to sort of randomly talking about players that are opposing one another. What I want to do is highlight one clash that you think the Dragons will dominate, one where you think the Warriors are going to dominate, and one that looks about even on paper that could decide the game. I'll start with you, Jesse. What's a clash that you think the Dragons win comfortably on paper?
I would say on the wing, Ravalawa up against Montoya. I think Ravalawa's got his size. Montoya's not the greatest defender. I'm not sure if they're on the same side of the park. I'm not too sure, but I think
I think Ravalawa is going to be marking D-Dub.
Okay, so so Matty Feeney's got
Feeney's on
Montoya. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I think Bud and Luke Metcalf actually is pretty even matchup. I think Bud, exciting young player, so is Metcalf. I've seen him come through the system at Cronulla. He's an exciting young player, as is Bud. So I think they may have played against each other coming through the junior ranks as well. So I think that's going to be exciting. They're two players of the future, and I think that's going to be an exciting battle. Could be crucial to whoever comes out on top as well.
Our main man when it comes to lower grades footy is Stephen Bates, and he's just put in the chat. Tau Moga's missing the game due to personal reasons. Dylan Egan's out with an injury, and Viliami is there's a good chance that he's actually going to play in that game. So that's the feedback that we've got there on the chat, and Bates is a guy that gets along and watches all these games. He goes and watches more lower grades than he watches NRL footy. So he's a bloke that you certainly listen to when it comes to the lower grades. But for me, the matchup where I think we win is in the centres. I think Moses Sully and Zach Lomax up against Rocco Berry and Adam Pompey. That's probably the one where I think the Dragons have a significant edge. But once again, the Dragons probably haven't used the centres very well this season. They've been more battering rams. So yeah, if we can get them early ball, isolate them one-on-one with those guys, I think that's a battle where we can actually get some wins. But Rob, where's the matchup that you see the Warriors as the winners, and the player or position where we'll need to play out of our skin to just contain them?
Well, the Warriors worry me answering the question that you were just talking about in the forwards, because if they're rolling forward and dominating us, that's a concern. They got some big boppers, and they got some mongrel forwards as well too, and they got Hasman's man, Jackson Ford as well too. But the big boppers are big boys, mate, and they can offload the ball as well too. But then going for the key matchups, Terrell Sloan with Charles Nixel Klossack. Yeah, I think it's a big game for Terrell to come out and keep on improving. I mean, the South game, I thought he was outstanding. The stats as well backed him up. And keep on going, young man. But obviously against like what I was saying to the lovely girl we had on from the Warriors, Charles has been doing very well for the Warriors this year, so that's going to be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah.
And then,
so that's the one you think the Warriors win comfortably, that matchup there?
No, I'm just going with the forwards, mate. I worry that the forwards might overpower us. I know you're asking for an individual over an individual.
No, I'm quite happy to go. I mean, as I said,
I'm just concerned that the forwards don't overpower us. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with that, mate. I think that the one that I think the
middle.
Warriors absolutely killers is through the middle.
Yeah,
Adenford, Blake, Bunbury, Tohu Harris. Yeah, I think Frankie Molo, Blake Laurie, and Jack De Belin in his 200. They've got a hell of a task in standing up to those guys. If they can come through that battle neutral, I think we're that'll go a long way to helping us win the game. But I think the Warriors definitely start massive favourites in that battle through the middle of the field.
Jacob Lynn's going to do a lot of work tomorrow, on Friday, so he's going to have to tackle his heart out as well.
And then, mate, I've got the other matchups. Yeah, look, if Ben Hunt plays, he doesn't play. I mean, Flano said that he's going to play. That's his information.
Yeah.
But look, Flano's told him he might be playing hooker. That's what happened. Flano's told him there's a possibility. There's a possibility that he.
I mean, I'm trying to be positive, right? I mean, if Hunt plays against Sean Johnson, I mean, that's just I mean, it's a great matchup, right? At the end of the day.
You're stealing my thunder for the next one, mate. So that's why I was trying to interrupt you.
Sorry.
The next one, which is Muzz's question, is probably more pointing towards that sort of matchup. But Muzza, looking across the field, what's the clash that's worth the price of admission? The even matchup where the winner of the personal battle could decide the outcome of the match.
Oh yeah, look, with that one, I'm thinking it's in the halves. I think, regardless of whether Ben Hunt plays or not, I think Sean Johnson, the way he's been playing this year, he's just been playing out of his skin. He's been the backbone of the Warriors' turnaround in their performance as opposed to last year and even his own form. If Ben Hunt plays, it'll be two of the old heads and whoever comes out on top of that. If Buddy gets the nod, if Ben Hunt's not playing, well then it's a case of master versus the apprentice, I guess, and it's a good time for Buddy to stand up. But I think that I think that Sean Johnson versus whoever our half is, I think it's going to be juicy, I guess. But and probably the other one, you're talking about even matchups. We're talking about forward pack overpowering us. I just think Adam Fanua-Blake has been miles ahead of anybody else with just his numbers alone. But Bunty Afoa hasn't been as impressive. So that's probably one of the areas that if we can contain Adam Fanua-Blake and obviously Curran, but we're a good chance. But definitely that halfback, regardless of who we play, I think that's going to be a ripper.
Yeah, that's probably the one reason that I actually do hope that Ben Hunt plays. I've sort of been of the opinion that I don't really want to see him in the red V ever again, given the way that he's carried on this week. But that matchup with Sean Johnson, I think that's definitely one to look forward to. Both older guys at the back end of their career, but both of them in pretty much the best form of their lives. And I think that's an incredible sort of personal battle if those two go up against each other, and whoever has the better night. You'd think, given the tumultuous week that Hunt's had, and 2 days after Origin, that Sean Johnson would once again be favourite. But I think that's a pretty even sort of battle that could decide the outcome of this game if they get to go up against each other. All right, well, talking about State of Origin, Jesse, let's chat about the Origin game. Both teams forced into a few changes. Queensland without Jai Arrow, Selwyn Cobbo, Tom Gilbert and Tommy Dearden. While New South Wales without Api Coruscant, Nathan Cleary, Nico Hines and Tavita Pangai Jr. from game one. Which team do you think's made the better decisions in terms of replacements?
Without a doubt, I'd have to say Queensland. They lost. They've got a like-for-like replacement. I think they've got I think they've potentially even got a stronger side. Like Xavier Coates, he's a freak of a try scorer. He's shown he can handle that level of Origin football. Jeremiah Nanai played in that arena last year. He comes in for Tom Gilbert. He's handled that arena before too, and Billy Slater's known he can do a job. And then Mawaki Fodawaker comes in. That was a surprise one onto the bench. I haven't seen a lot of Titans games this year, but I thought Corey Horsburgh from the Raiders would have secured a bench spot. He's been unreal for them this year. Very surprised that he didn't get a bench spot there, but I don't like the inclusion of Mitchell Moses at 7. It's really a hostile reception you'll get at Suncorp tomorrow. You've never played Origin until you play an Origin at Suncorp, because it can be a scary sight even for an Origin debut, let alone this is where you get found out. he's had his one chance in the Origin arena before a couple of years ago when Cleary went down after the second game. But I hope he does handle well and step up. But as Daly Terry-Evans said to him last week, well, said in the media that you can't expect your NRL form to transition to Origin form. It doesn't transition. It's
like Billy Burns' reserve grade form to NRL form, mate.
Exactly. Like it's a big step up in class, and you've got to go to that next level. Not sure if Mitchell Moses is like that. I hope he does go well because it's really a must-win game. We can't afford to lose this, and I think we lose this, Bradford doesn't have a job next year. I'm happy to see Reece Robson included. Obviously a Dragons junior. Good chance for him to show what he's got on the big stage. There's been talk that he may start, and they might blood Cookie from the bench. Maybe, I don't know. Freddie hasn't said anything about that yet. And I'm surprised that he's gone with Stephen Crichton again after his disappointing game one. I thought Matt Burton at least should have had a crack, or even Campbell Graham, but again, he's gone with Crichton. Yeah, Latrell Mitchell, another big loss.
100% I would have gone with Campbell Graham.
Yeah, I don't know what he's done wrong. I think he's been the best centre in the NRL this year. And
he's been unreal.
He's gone with Stephen Crichton. And I'm a bit surprised too. Utoy Ikamanu, is it? How do you pronounce it? Utoy Ikamanu?
Pretty close.
Yeah. He's probably I think Gus admitted last week, he's probably the biggest bolter New South Wales selected in maybe 20 years. Like, that's a left field selection.
I'll skip the next 4 questions because you've answered all of them.
But yeah, I was very surprised at that one, and I hope that I think if New South Wales have any chance of winning, they must start well, because if Queensland get a couple of tries on the board, we won't come close to them.
Yeah, I'll ask the next couple of questions anyway, even though Jesse has pretty much gone through it. But Rob, the biggest call was over who should have been the 7 with Nathan Cleary out. The selectors have gone with Mitch Moses in a must-win game in a hostile environment. Is Moses the right man for the job?
I mean, yeah, look, it's a hard one because obviously he's had a crack before. It's a cauldron to go into, right? Playing at Suncorp. I mean, I was listening to, I can't remember who it was. I think it's Billy Slater, obviously the coach of Queensland, was saying he's watched sporting events around the world, and when you got a packed Suncorp Stadium for State of Origin, it's just a cauldron. It's it's just unbelievable. The fans are behind you and all that. So for Moses, I worry for him that he might get nervous. It might be too much for him at all, and all that. But in saying that, I think his hookers that he's got in Cookie and in Reece Robson are very fast out of dummy half. So if they can get the forwards moving forward, that will be a big help to Mitchell to do his magic. And if that happens, we're a real chance in the game. But I just hope, obviously, the atmosphere, I don't know if they still go past the Caxton on the bus and all that on the way, and all that sort of stuff. It's a big bloody step up, mate.
They have stopped doing that. I hope they bring that back. Well, they stopped it for a few. I don't know if they're going to start doing it again, but they stopped doing it. They can't. They've got to do it. That's a rite of passage.
Yeah,
all New South Wales teams to go past that. That's something
tradition,
to look forward to.
It's a
Tradition, Jesse, right? Correct. Yeah, 100%. And the only thing I'd say, mate, whether or not they should have looked at an Adam Reynolds, for the experience or whatever, but I guess the future's the future, right? Like what we talk about Bud Sullivan with the Dragons. You got to go to your future. But yeah, I just hope and pray for Moses that it won't be too overwhelming for him, and he can play some of the great footy he's been playing for Para. So fingers crossed, mate, at the end of the day. And of course, wish him the best, and New South Wales the best, of course.
Yeah, no, I know Big T's a Queenslander, so I'm not going to let him talk on the topic. But I think he has described Mitch Moses. You have described Mitch Moses as the most complete halfback in the
I
competition.
think he is. Yes, he is. I don't think he's quite as good as Nathan Cleary, but he's got everything. He's got his kick. He's got his long passes. He's got his grubbers. He can run. He's a quick kid, and he's just signed a multi-million-dollar contract with Parramatta.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he is a very, very good player. But yeah, I personally would have stuck with Nico Hines, but and that sort of brings us to the next.
It's a cauldron to put him in straight into Suncorp. Wow.
What he's the best player in the comp. He's won the Dally M. He's won the Dally M. He's just about leading the Dally M. He plays one bad game, and all of a sudden, oh no, you're not in the team at all. Like I don't know. That's probably the next question, Buzz. Nico Hines, current Dally M medal winner, right up there near the top players in the comp again this year. He was in the team for game one. Didn't get a lot of time as a utility, but all of a sudden been dumped altogether from game two. Do you think this is a fair call, or do you think it's a bit rough on him?
Yeah, I think it's another one where everybody's going to be divided over their thoughts about it. I for one, I think they've gone with the right choice, to be honest. Nico, I think, even if it did only come down to that one game on the last weekend before the selection, everyone's saying Moses played against the Bulldogs and Nico Hines had to play against the Storm, but isn't that what we're trying?
He had a shocker.
Well,
there's no doubt about that.
But he had a shocker, but isn't that what we're asking him to do against the gun size, to be the lynch man, to be the one to stand out? And you can't do that in club footy against the top 8 sides. The Sharks, as we all know, have really struggled against top 8 sides the last couple of years. Look, I think Nico, if he worried a little bit more about his game than he did his freaking hair, I think he'd go a little bit better, to be honest. But always fucking doing this with his hair. I might be a bit jealous because I've got none, but I just think that Moses has been there, and people even dogged him about his last game, but he played that last Origin game with an injury for most of the game, set up a couple of tries, and was solid. But I'm not unhappy that he's picked Moses over him, but it'll be divided.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Mitch Moses being picked. I just personally would have gone with Nico Hines. I think he's the guy that actually brings something different. I think that everyone else plays in exactly the same sort of way. I think Mitch Moses is going to play in a similar way to Nathan Cleary, and I guess that's a straight swap. But we lost the last game. We lost the last series. Nico Hines is a guy that plays in a completely different way. Yes, Big T.
Yeah, can I just say that New South Wales have won the last 5 game twos?
There we go. That's a good stat, mate. I like that.
Yeah, and Queensland have won the past 13 or 16 or something games in Queensland. So,
well, I think there's only once where New South Wales have come back from 1-0 down, won in Queensland, and then won the series. So it's only about 05, correct, mate? Yeah, and actually, you win the Mad Dragons trivia question.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Actually, they said the last time we won game 2 in Brisbane after losing game 1 was 1998. So 25 years ago. I think Rod Wishart was in that side as well. So going back some time there.
Could I just ask Muzz not to talk about hair, because 4 of us on this panel now look like Homer Simpson. So
I'm one. I'm good.
We enjoy our hair, don't we, Donnie? While we flaunt it.
Absolutely, mate. When you've got it, flaunt it.
Like the beard.
We're in the bald man's
bushy beard.
Yeah, getting there, Donnie.
You'll catch me, mate. But again, Jesse kind of alluded to this already, but the big bolter in the Blues squad is Stefano Utoikamanu. Were you surprised that the young Tiger got the call from Freddie?
Very much so. I haven't seen much of him, to be perfectly honest. Freddie, I don't really rate Freddie as a
I think Blake Laurie has more average meters per game than Steph, so that gives you a bit of an indication.
Well, don't bloody tell me. Tell Freddie. Actually, no, don't. We need him. No, look, I haven't seen much of Stefanos. I can't really speak intelligently as to exactly how good he is. Starting to sound like Buzz Rothfield. Look, Freddie could pick absolutely anyone, and I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't be entirely shocked. Like he's an absolute bloody mad professor when it comes to
Aaron Woods late inclusion. Yeah, not even shocked. Not even surprised.
Who's Jackson Ford eligible for?
He's a blue. He's a Gerringong boy.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe you can pick him then.
Late inclusion. Bring him in. But
late inclusion.
Just on a personal note, I think Stefano is actually the first player that I've called in a game live that I think's ever played State of Origin. I called him playing SG ball against the West Coast Pirates when he was playing for Parramatta. He was an absolute unit back then, as you could imagine. He was a huge human, and the poor old boys from Western Australia, they couldn't tackle him. They had a real hard time against him. And I thought he did have a big future, but I certainly am very shocked to see him picked for the Blues in this game. All right, big team. We've talked a lot about the New South Wales squad, and that's because the Queensland squad stinks and they're all grubs, aren't they?
They don't stink. They don't stink. They don't stink, boys. Come on, they're a good team.
Yes, they
got to admit they're all grubs. They are all grubs.
I do have to admit there's a few grubs in the side, and Queensland have been renowned for their grubs. But Coach Picobo was a like for like trade. Nanai for Arrow, like for like. Mo Fodawaker onto the bench. I think that's a good inclusion. He's a good player. Good player for the Titans. I would have liked to see Corey get a run. Big Corey Horsburgh, Big Red. I do like him, and I've liked him for. He's got passion. He's like he loves the game. He loves to play hard. And he's been doing it for Canberra. So I would have liked to see him start. He'd look good in the red V, I think. So we might have to keep an eye on him, along with my mate Tino Fasul Malawi. He should be in the red V too. So yeah, they've got class all over the field. And later on, I'll tell you my predictions for that game.
Yeah, we definitely will get into that. And Brendan Daly, he refers to them as that shit brown team. So basically,
all right, okay. I'll take all of them. Bring it on. Come on.
Maroon. That's kind of like when you go to the toilet and you've had a little bit of beetroot.
Or port. Yeah. But all I've got to say is Queenslander.
Well, I hope the Blues can level the series. But all right. Jesse, this one wasn't on the original agenda, but there was somebody put it in the comments, and I thought I'd chuck it on the end. Bo Scott has joined Jamie Soward's NRLW coaching staff. It's certainly put a bit of a smile on a few people's faces to see the protector rejoin Jamie Soward in the coaching staff for NRLW.
Yeah, it's good to see he's getting some old boys back, and he's actually been mentoring one of our girls, actually, Macy Carlisle. So, both picked in products. So obviously he was known for his great defense. No one will get past him, and hopefully he can instill this into these young girls, because they'll have a lot of experience and big girls heading their way as well. So and for them to learn off one of the best defensive back rows I've ever seen. And to have him in that side and teach these girls how to stand up and really defend their own line and stay in position and do that against these more experienced sides, I think that's going to be great. And it's good to see that Soward is getting these sorts of people, and hopefully he can teach them, be a good mentor for them, these girls, and show them how to be strong and very resilient defenders. Because as I said, lot of young girls in this side, they'll need to do that against these more experienced and bigger girls in the games ahead this season.
Yeah, I think Buzzer might need to create a Moldy. I don't know if he's quite got one yet. So I'll let you loose on Women's State of Origin, Jess, while you're going, because I know you wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, so it's again like the men's tomorrow night. It's must win for the Blues on Thursday night. They head to Townsville for game 2.
Well, not just must win; they've got to win by a certain margin.
So they got to win by 9 or more. So coach of the Blues, Kylie Hilder, has made a couple of changes. So Talia Fuimoano, she goes to a preferred position of 5'8", so she'll partner Jessie Southwell in the halves. Your favourite player, Rachel Pearson, has been dropped from the side, surprisingly.
What sort of a coach is he? Seriously.
And my favourite player hasn't been picked either.
Yeah, yes, I'll get into that a little later. Isabel Kelly's been cleared to play after copying the elbow to the throat in game 1, so she's been given the all clear by the neurologist, and that's remarkable. It's great to see her back on the field. Looking forward to seeing her play. She was a big loss when we lost her in game 1, so she's a very dynamic player, and I think she's sort of like the Latrell Mitchell of the women's game. She's very dynamic, very hard to stop when she's in form. And it sees Jess Surgis go back to the centres as well, with when Tiana Penatani was ruled out ahead of game 1. So Jess Surgis goes back to the centres. I'm excited to see Jessie Southwell play at the halfback. She's an exciting young player. I sort of didn't think they got on well, Southwell and Pearson, 2 halfbacks in the halves. I don't think that ever works. I think that that's going to be more natural. Fui's a more she likes to get her hands on the ball. She's a good runner of the ball, and she prefers playing 5'8". I see that as a good combination. Fui just focuses on running with the ball and doing what her strengths are, and then Jessie Southwell can just kick and do what she does best as well. And a big inclusion for the Blues as well was Samai Matau. She did not play in the first game. She had a shoulder injury she suffered in the Harvey Norman Premiership, but she's a big inclusion. She's automatically one of the first picked in the Blues side, so she'll add a lot of punch into the forward pack. Queensland have lost Julia Robertson, so she was suspended for that elbow to the throat of Isabel Kelly. So China Palata comes in for her Origin debut. Queensland have basically kept the same side that played in game 1. I think the Blues can get it done. I think they'll be better for the run. Or obviously, Origin 1 had a lot of errors. They haven't played a lot of top flight football since last year's World Cup. So there was talk about potentially playing Origin through the NRLW season, so they have some football in them against these top flight players. It's to be expected. They haven't played any football in 5 or 6 months, so they maybe should review that as well. But I think this Blues side is stronger than the first one. I think they can bounce back. I think I like the inclusion of Taufa and Penatani. Penatani had some strike. Jamie Chapman was very good on debut as well. Scored that length of the field try. Made that try-saving tackle and scored a try on debut. Emma Tonagato was superb as well. And Kezia
we'll see how they go. The Blues up against it and having to chase points, but hopefully they can get the job done in both the men's and women's. I think we all hope that. Even Big T really hopes the Blues can win. Don't say anything, Big T. All right, we'll get into the last segment of the night. Muzzer's ready to go. Let's do this.
All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. All I want, all I need, all I crave is a big multi. London multi.
Okay, Muzz's multi for this week. Again, we're still sitting on $0, and for that, I again apologise. But it will come, and when it does, it'll come big. This week, I'm going to start all anytime try scorers. So jot this down if you want to have a big win this week. Follow me and all my professional tips. Will Penasini, anytime try scorer for Parramatta. Isaac Cargo for the Panthers. To go over any time. I've also chucked in Jerome Hughes for the Storm. They should score a few tries there, so he might go over. And Corey Oates for the Broncos as an anytime try scorer as well. So so hopefully we can finally get one up and get some dollars over for the Family League, which is Donnie's touched on it just about every week. The work that they do. And just real quickly on that with the Family League, they're obviously we're not making any money from here, so there are other ways that you can support the Family League. I was talking with MG the other night on the Muzz's League Legends, if anybody's missed it. But he touched on it a fair bit too, that you can become a member of the Family League, I think for 20 or $25, as little as 20 or $25 a year or something. And there are raffles and stuff that they run every week that you can win $2,000 a week or something as well. So I'm doing nothing for them with the multi, so I'm definitely going to sign up and sort of support them that way. So hopefully Muzz's multi gets a win up this week.
Yeah, no, it is a great cause. I've actually been a member for quite a few years now, and I was looking for my keys. I had the key ring and all that sort of stuff on. But I don't have them on me. But it's a great organisation. Anything you can do to support them is fantastic. So if you can help out in any way, then absolutely do so. Hopefully you do a little bit better than Muzz's multi has for him so far. But as you keep saying, Muzzer, we will get a win. We will get a win at some point, and when we do, it'll be a big one. And yep, then we'll cut one of those big oversized novelty checks for him.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours. It'll come in loads of three. You watch.
Well, let's hope so. Hopefully we can get a couple in a row. But definitely, I sort of look at the multi that you've gone for this week, and it looks every chance. Will Penasini has been in great form for the Eels. So we talked about Campbell Graham probably being the best centre in the comp. Will Penasini's, I think, he's flown well under the radar. He's in really, really good form for the Eels, and I think the fact that they're not going too well has let that one slip by. But I think he's going really well. Targo's always a chance. Jerome Hughes. He loves when he runs. The Storm usually play pretty well, and as you say, they should score a few tries. And Corey Oates definitely an option to barge over with his size out wide. So definitely a chance of getting this one up.
Well, let's hope so. You said that it'd be good to get a couple in a row. I'll be able to get one in a row to start with.
Let's get one, at least one this season. I don't want to head into next season still sitting on duck egg.
It'll come.
All right, it's prediction time. We'll go through whatever your predictions are for the game on Friday night, the Dragons against the Warriors, and also tomorrow, New South Wales beating Queensland by how much? Rob?
Okay, I'm just going to say before I start for the ball man on the panel, Jesse, I noticed you have a couple of hat changes there to make us all jealous, mate, during the show. So good on you, mate. Yeah, I noticed that. Don't worry. Donnie, sorry to go off script. Dragons 1-4, mate. My man, Bud Sullivan, anytime try scorer. And then Big T, are you listening? Big T, I think Queensland are going to win, mate. New South Wales. I just don't think Freddie's got the right team. So I think Queensland are going to win. I can't put a score on it, but I think they're going to get the chocolates, mate. So I'm going to be in disgust now. People are going to throw stuff at me. So, So don't worry, Benny Hunt. People will start throwing stuff at me.
I was going to say, I'm going to boo you harder than the fans are going to boo Ben Hunt. That's diabolical.
I know, it's disgraceful, isn't it?
Oh,
I'm in the red, Dragons gear, but I'm not in the blue. But yeah, I just got that gut feeling.
last year we started talking about State of Origin. We went to Big T and he started talking and I booted him off straight away. So I might do the same to you right now. Unfortunately, Big T couldn't get back on after I booted him. So that we don't do that anymore. Muzzer, what are your predictions for, I'd say the weekend, but before the weekend?
Well, we're just on Origin, are we?
Oh, well, both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, look, I've just got to talk with the heart. I'm just hoping that the Blues will bounce back and even it up at Suncorp, Lang Park. It's going to be a big job. It's going to be a tough job, but we'll run away with it in the end and win by 4, I reckon. Friday night, yeah, look, I'm pretty confident that the boys can carry on some decent form, and I think Matty Feeney will score at any time, and I'm going to put Zach Lomax in again, first time try scorer. I think we'll win by 4 as well.
There we go, 4 and 4. I like it. I like you more than Rob. Rob's on my shit list. Hadsman, what are your predictions, mate?
Right, so we'll start with Origin. I reckon the NRL will basically force the referees to give New South Wales the game so that we can go to a decider because they lose too much money otherwise. So I reckon New South Wales by 4. Now, the game that matters, Friday night, I've picked Jackson Ford to score against his old club. And even funnier than that, I've also picked Ben Hunt to score the first try and absolutely shut everyone up. Now, in terms of the margins, I had a bit of a, I did have a bit of there's a bit of an omen bet this one. So I was having a quiet beer after work at the local on Monday, and just as I was leaving, I just happened to glance at the TAB screen, and I noticed a race. I don't know if it was a horse race or greyhound, whatever it was. But number 8 was Saints by 1. So I thought that might be a bit of an omen. So I'll go Saints by 1 with Hunt kicking a golden point field goal.
Fantastic. Ben Hunt, he's everywhere. He's everywhere in that. Big T, I don't really care what you think, but let us know anyway.
Yes, you do. You care what I think because I'm important. And I tell myself that every morning. I jump up and get up and look in the mirror and say, how you doing? Good looking. Anyway, I reckon Dragons with or without Hunt, I'll get up. Warriors are in 6th, yeah, but we've got a bit of we've won 24 out of 34 against them, so I think we've got a bit of what's Rob doing? Oh, anyway. Yeah, but I think Sewer first try, Bird anytime. Dragons by 4, as everyone else has said. Fingers crossed. I think we can do it. But then Wednesday night, the game before, I think Queensland by 1,000. Xavier Coates to score anytime, man. My man Tino Farsaw Malaawi to score the first try. Queensland to win by plenty.
Yeah, I told you I didn't care what you think. So
I noticed. I was having a look. You weren't even watching.
Why'd you even leave him on tonight?
Right,
mate. If the Blues do force this to a decider, then
I'm sure.
Then you and I are going to have words, mate. Yeah,
that'll be fantastic if New South Wales can win up there. It's going to be a huge effort to do it.
It'll be the biggest boil over in State of Origin history.
Yeah,
it would be. I think it would be.
I think Donny Bell's in the theatre. He's done a dress change to the blue shirt. He's got a blue shirt on. Yeah. He's done a theatre change. I've noticed that.
Well, they call me Kylie Minogue, mate. I've got a lot of costume changes throughout the show. I'm trying to up my game. I'm gonna get some glitter for next week, I think. But
my blues jumper on.
Jesse's had a few costume changes.
Yeah,
look at him go.
Mate. I've had a few the one with the hair as well too. He doesn't show his hair.
Jess, what's your predictions?
For tomorrow night, I think Queensland are going to clinch the series. I just don't like the team Freddie's picked. I think Queensland will get us by 14. I think the hostile environment is going to get the better of these rookies like Moses, his first game at Suncorp. Yeah, I think Queensland will be right up for this. They'll have the full crowd support, and I think it'll be too much for the Blues. I just hope the Blues can overcome that and just play their natural game and show us what they can do, because it's a do or die game. But I really hope the Blues can win, but I think Queensland will be too strong at home. As for Friday night's game, I'll be at that game too. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm going to go Jack De Belin to get a try at any stage of the game. I think he'll get one in his big 200. I'm going to go first try. I'm going to go Bud. I think Bud can get a try at his home ground. Yeah. And actually, I'll throw in a tip for the women's origin. I think New South Wales can get the required points. I think they'll win by 10. I like the inclusion of Fui in the halves and Southwell at halfback, and Tauf has a big inclusion as well at lock. It's a much better side than game one. No disrespect to those players that miss out this game, but yeah, I think New South Wales can get the chocolates up there in Townsville. And for the Dragons, I think the Dragons can get home by 4. I think it'll be a close one. I think Dragons by 4.
Yeah. All right. Big T, Brendan Daly wants to know, how can you be such a good shit bloke?
I've been like that all my life, mate. Everyone loves me, everyone hates me. Oh, I don't know, mate. Yeah. Thanks for that anyway.
I will add too, for the Blues, the women's game, I'll go Jamie Chapman for the first try, and I'll go Fui for a try at any point.
All right. Well, I'll start with the Dragons. I think the Dragons, it's going to be a tough game in Wollongong, but it's not a venue that the Warriors like going to. They've only ever beaten St George Illawarra once in Wollongong. It's something like 10 or 11-1 in favour of the Dragons. So I think it's a bit of a hoodoo. It's never by a huge margin. It's not often by a huge margin. I know Big T went through a game earlier that was a pretty big win for the Dragons, but usually it's sort of 8 to 12 points in that sort of vicinity. With that in mind, I think the Dragons get the win by 6. I think the size of the Warriors might count against them, and Jacob Little will split them up the middle with his speed, and he will score a try at some stage in this game. So the Dragons to get home on Friday night. And in the State of Origin game, I think you're all well off the mark. I think New South Wales is going to put on an absolute attacking clinic. Queensland are going to come out and try and protect this 1-0 series lead and play a little bit too tentative. New South Wales are going to take it right up to them. They're going to dominate from the outset. Tommy Turbo is going to score a try. I think Mitch Moses is going to set up a couple. He'll score one himself, and the Blues to win by 18. We'll wrap it up there for tonight. I think it's going to be an absolute ripper tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. And I think Friday night will be just as good. So come on, Dragons fans. Fire up.
Fire up, baby.
One more
Red
thing.
Blues
I've
are
got
part of
one more
me.
thing.
Jesse's
Go the
got some,
Blues.
Jesse's
One
got
more
some
thing.
news. Right, what do you got? You got
Breaking
some news
news.
to break.
Breaking
So-
news.
Next week is Beanie for Brain Cancer Round, and I'm going to be doing the walk in Sydney on Monday. The 5K walk from the SCG to the Opera House. And
Nice.
your beanies are available at Lowe's, IGA, and on the Mark Hughes Foundation website. Next week is Beanie for Brain Cancer Round. So go and support a great cause. Raise awareness
your
for
beanie.
brain cancer. Get your beanies.
Beautiful. Righto. Thanks for joining us. See you next week. We'll
Fire
see
up.
you Sunday.
Ciao.